Experimentation is a cornerstone of agile software development, yet I've noticed quite a lot of confusion around what are experiments, how are good experiments carried out, and why even experiment in the first place. By the end of this video, you'll get the answers to all these questions. You'll know exactly why experiment, how to structure and run a good experiment the correct way, and how to persuade, convince stakeholders, the organization, your team to run experiments. First off, an experiment is a procedure carried out to support or refute a hypothesis. Experiments provide insight into cause and effect by demonstrating what outcome occurs when a particular factor is manipulated. Experiments vary greatly in goal and scale and always rely on repeatable procedures and logical analysis of the results. All experiments always have 4 blocks. Develop a hypothesis. What do you hope to achieve? Create a method how to execute upon a hypothesis. Observation, watch the process unfold. And 4th, conclusion. Was the hypothesis achieved? Before expanding on these building blocks, let's answer a crucial question. Why run experiments in the first place? It's really important that you understand the why prior to running your first experiment. The why will help you persuade, convince your team members, the organization, stakeholders to run the experiments. You need to persuade them, and the why will help you do that. And the why will help you also convince them to run the experiments themselves. You're not even involved in that. They will start running experiments themselves because they really understand the power of experiment, and it all starts with a why. The shortest answer to this question is simply to validate an assumption, and most organizations don't do that. No, they have tons of assumptions about the customer, about the user, the needs of a user, the problems that we are trying to solve for the customer. How would the product look like in terms of design, in terms of taste, the features? They make tons of assumptions, but without a single trace of evidence. Unfortunately, we love assuming that the proposed feature, service, product, solution will work with the customers without any evidence. And this is for organizations that measure value. Most organizations don't even measure value, so there's no conversation on what the customer needs and wants. No one cares. We just build stuff. No one cares about the customer. The customer is not our priority. Most organizations are like that, and it's not even only the customer. It's also the team, the processes of the team, the tools being used, collaboration between team members. We assume here that we are perfect. No, nothing needs to be improved. We are working in a perfect manner. That's our assumption. The first step is to spread this agile mindset that encourages inspection and adaptation throughout the organization. This will help stakeholders understand why we need to experiment in the first place. I often get asked this question: how to persuade, how to convince stakeholders, team members, management to experiment, to run experiments. I like using a simple question: how do we know if a solution we are currently working on building will provide value to the customer? If the answer is vague, sorry, we don't know, and we need to run an experiment. Please keep experiments low cost and really short. You can use prototyping, fake features, landing pages, and by short and low cost, I mean hours, not days, not months, no. Hours, short experiments, low cost. This will help you convince stakeholders that we need to run them. Now, let's get back to the 4 building blocks. Step number 1, develop a hypothesis. Let's take an example here, simple example. You have a website selling a product, but conversion is low. No one is buying your product. So you believe that tweaking the format on the website would result in higher sales, higher conversion. That's a hypothesis, and you need to test it. That's what experimentation is all about. Most companies don't do that. No, they spend 3 months developing the thing, changing the format, and they release it, and they realize that conversion is decreasing. People are buying even less, and they lost 3 months. We don't want to do that. We want to test first if the thing is worth developing. That's what experimentation is all about. So the first step is to build this hypothesis, as much details as possible on what you want to do on the format, on the website. How would you test if this thing is working or not? Who will you test it with? customers? How will you test in terms of like, will you create a fake landing page, prototyping? Will you do customer interviews? How long will you be testing this? But the most important thing is, how will you know if a thing is successful or a failure? What does success and failure look like? If you're running this experiment with a Scrum team, please ensure that everyone is involved, the developers, the product owner, and also the UX person. They will be the one changing the format, designing the new stuff, so they need to be involved. Treat the experiment as a team effort. So what happens if the experiment is a success? All good. You develop, you do the change, you actually do a change in the production environment, and you see afterwards if indeed the customers respond positively to this change. If the experiment is a failure, that's even better. We didn't lose time. We just scrapped this idea, we find something else, and we didn't lose time actually developing the thing. That would be a total waste of time. That's why we do experiments in the first place. There's also some hidden benefits of experimentation. First, structure. Everyone is on the same page. We have a hypothesis. Everyone knows what we are trying to prove. What does success and failure look like? How will we run the experiment? How long will it take? Everyone is on the same page. We have a problem in mind. We have a solution in mind, and we have a common goal. Everyone is working towards this common goal, and this is really powerful. Another major benefit of experimentation is that it makes change smoother. Change is hard, change is scary. That's one of the main reasons why agile transformations fail. They fail because people are scared of change. They resist change. And one of the main reasons why people resist change is the fear of being stuck in a place that they don't like. Maybe someone was working in a particular manner previously, using a process, using a tool. Then someone else came and told them that we need to improve this process or this tool, and the improvement will be permanent. But what if I don't like the improvement? What if the improvement makes my life worse, even worse? I don't like that. And obviously, I will resist this change. This is where experimentation comes into play. Remember, experiments have an end date, clear hypothesis, success, what success means, what failure means. We can tell the person, convince the person that this change will not be permanent if this change is a failure. Only if a success, then we can make the change permanent. We are only experimenting with a change in your process, in the tool, the way you use the tool or the process you're currently using. For a few weeks, we are experimenting with a new approach. If you don't like it, if it doesn't work, you don't need to use it. It's way easier to convince people to change when you set a deadline and when you tell them that this thing is not permanent. Because if it doesn't work, we can always revert back to the old way of working. A good trick that I like using is running experiments for more than 21 days, because remember, it takes 21 days or more of repetitive tasks to build a habit. And when you use that with experiments, you push experiments to more than 21 days. The person using this new way of working is already building the habit while running the experiment. And at the end of the experiment, if it's a success, the person is more likely to keep doing what he has been doing for the past 21 days because it's already part of their life. It's a habit now. That's a really good trick. And you also need to use the sprint retrospectives. Scrum is perfect to run experiments because of a sprint retrospectives that will allow you to reflect, to inspect, reflect, and adapt on all these experiments that you are running. If something is not going right, cut the experiment. If something needs to be improved in the experiment, improve it. Talk about the experiment as often as needed to ensure that they are running correctly. Which brings me to my next point. If you want more tips, insights on Agile, Scrum, personal growth, click on the video that stands out the most on the screen right now, and I'll see you in a few seconds.